Hey guys, Keith again. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I wanted to share something with you, and I'm gonna try to make this my last video where I'm kind of complaining, okay? Because I don't like to complain, and I don't want to. I want positive things. I want to put out positive things so positive things come back to me. Maybe why I'm struggling because I'm constantly talking about what's not working, what's not right in my life instead of what is right. And so obviously we can all do that, and we all have done that probably, and we get ourselves in a mess. And so some of y'all are going to beat me up in the comments about this, maybe, and some of you will understand what I'm going through, maybe, if you felt this way, and some of you won't. Some of you will be like, "Oh, that's terrible for you to feel that way." So I've struggled a little bit about my wife. Was passed away. Okay, 5 years ago next month, and I have struggled with being, or what, I don't know which way you say it, struggled with not being or struggled with being. Anyway, I've had a problem with being mad at her a little bit, or at least a little frustrated with her, um, about about something here, and that is where I live. Okay, because I live in her hometown. I live where she was born and raised, where she grew up, where she has family and friends and all that, where she went to school, where she, got her first job and bought her first car and, had her first boyfriend, all that stuff, right here. And, the reason I moved here is no longer here. Okay. She's gone. And so here I am. And, I've said this before, just struggled with friendships, just not having really a lot of friends and people to just hang out with a lot and stuff like that, and dating is, I don't even hardly think about that anymore. Unfortunately, I really don't. But because I'd be tickled just to have a buddy, and I hate to dream too big, I guess maybe, but I've struggled really since she passed about living here. And there was a time, my kid or my daughter really wanted to move at one time. Now she has a good job here, and she does have a good place to work and good um, managers and good people to work for. It's just a great company, and so she's pretty content with that, and I get that. My job that I did have was remote anyway, so that I could have lived in Hawaii. It wouldn't have mattered, and still did my job. But there's just not a lot to do. There's things to do around here. I won't say that there's nothing to do. That's a little exaggerative there, but there's just not a lot of things that I want to do. I guess we don't live next to a real big city. You got to drive a little ways, not a long ways. It's not like hours, but hour, an hour and a half. To get somewhere where there might be a concert or something. But of course, concerts and ball games and all that stuff. Uh, I'm not big on huge crowds anyway. I've been to all those things, but not crazy about fighting the crowd and the traffic and all that either. And the older I get, the worse that gets probably. But anyway, I think about that, and then the cost. It's just crazy what it costs to go to a concert. Anymore, and to a ball game too. It's nuts. But so I don't even know if it's about that kind of thing, but just there's just things that you know I don't know. I guess because I live here, because I moved here for her, and now I'm a long ways from my parents. I mean, hundreds of miles, about 800 miles, and so it's all day and all night trip. Last time we drove it, it was 18 hours. I'm an only child. My mom and dad can't drive. They're homebound pretty much. They are at home, but then they had to have family there to take them to get groceries and to the doctor and that sort of thing. But I feel bad that I can't be there for them. And here I am down here with her folks. I never see her folks. I never see her family. And we try to get with them sometimes, and hopefully they don't watch this, but because I'm not trying to beat nobody up or be mean to anybody, it's just, but we've tried to get with them, and it just doesn't work out a lot of times. And So I feel bad because I'm not close to my folks and can't be there for them. And where we used to live when we first got married, we lived in Tennessee, so we was about halfway in between her folks and mine. Um, but she wanted to, she wanted to live down here, and with her passing, in some ways, I was glad that she was here, when she passed, and they could be here with her and for her and all that. Um, but I mean, there's part of me that thinks that what if we hadn't moved here, she might not have died too. I think about that. Her life would have been different if we'd have. I mean, our life there was a lot more stress free than it was when we moved here. It got a lot more stressful when we moved here. It just immediately, and not because we didn't have kids when we moved here, and it wasn't because we had kids that got stressful. It had nothing to do with that. It just there was other things that come into play. I won't go into, but because we moved here, there was more stress that came along with that decision. And we've had a lot of good things. We got a nice house here, and we it's um, there's been some good things come of it, like anything. But anyway, I've struggled with that. I don't want to be mad. I can't be mad at her if she's not here to you know to fight with. I don't want to fight with her anyway. Um, I just I've struggled with it though. I've just been like I don't know what to do. Moving sounds like the worst thing in the world because I have a lot of stuff. We have a big house, and it's a whole lot more full than it was when we moved from Tennessee. Her and I moved by ourselves when we moved here, and it would take a lot of help to get things moved out of here, and probably multiple trucks. And I'd probably just leave the furniture, honestly. But then it's like, well, where do you go? And things are so expensive. I was looking at house prices, and oh my gosh, it's crazy, And of course, we'd be able to sell our house hopefully soon. But at the same time, what if you don't sell your house right away? And then just so much to think about. And so I've just been, like here I am, 60 years old, and it's like, do I want to live here the rest of my? Do I want to die here? I mean, I hate to say that, but it's like, there's nothing here for me. There's just, I mean, my kids are here, obviously, and I don't want to move away from them. I'd want them to go with me wherever I went. But other than them, and they live here, but other than that, I have nothing, I have no ties here whatsoever. Nothing that's like, ooh, I'm staying here for this. And like I say, my daughter has a job here now, a good job, but so she's got that. That would be a big thing to have to think about leaving, and for her and all that. So, but for me, I don't have any. I just don't have any ties here. So, but anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of that. If you've had any struggles with that, I know a lot of people, and it's usually, no offense against you ladies, usually the guy does move closer to, you know, her parents. I know my mom and dad did the same thing. They moved close to her family. Of course, his family wasn't too far away either, but they did move to the town where most of her family is at, and and he moved there for her to make her happy and everything, and I moved here to make my wife happy. And I'm not saying she drug me down here. I had kind of come to the decision like, okay, well, I guess this is what's going to make her happy. I wasn't mad about it at the time, but it wasn't my first decision for sure. But anyway, now I'm here, and I'm older, and things are, like I say, a lot more expensive, and there's just a lot more to think about moving. Um, and it's so anyway, just a lot on my mind here lately. I promise I'm going to be more positive on the next video. We're going to get into some more positive things here, but I'm not discouraged about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm just, it's been on my mind, and so I've been a little frustrated, a little disappointed at where I'm at right now, and just physically, and all that, as far as my, where my body is at, the place I'm at, the location I'm at. But because it's not my dream place to live. Nashville was my dream place to live, and I was living there, and it took me 30 years or so to get there, and then only lived there just a few years, and then we moved here. But so I would love to live there again, but again, it's a big move. So But anyway, I'd love to hear your comments and concerns and suggestions and kind of see, if you've dealt with that with your spouse or even with, whether it was a spouse you lost through death or just a divorce or whatever. If, you're living somewhere because they wanted you to live there and you kind of had to make some different decisions or now you feel stuck a little bit. I guess that's kind of when I feel a little bit stuck. Like, I mean, I'm not a young guy, but I'm not an old guy either. I'm hoping I got several years left here, and I'd like to enjoy where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I hope you're having a great night, and I hope you're not complaining about anything or anybody like I am. But anyway, I hope you're having a great one. If you could give us a thumbs up on this, subscribe to us, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks.